This week's political figure episode, we got Katie Porter's sister from another mister. The one Crockett whose fight in Texas is actually worth remembering, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine by Felicia Crockett was born in St. Louis, Missouri on March 29th, 1981, making her an original model year millennial. She got her bachelor in business from Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, before attending University of Houston Law to get her Juris Doctor. After being accepted to the bar, she worked as a civil rights lawyer and a public defender for Bowie County before starting her own firm. At her own firm, she continued fighting for civil rights by taking on pro bono cases for civil rights activists who were fighting for police reform. In 2019, she ran for the Texas House of Representatives and won, and immediately started rocking the boat. First by authoring 26 bills, more than any other freshman congressperson in the House. Many of these bills were set to address real problems facing Texas, like voting rights access, an ongoing health crisis in 2021, budgetary problems where Texas was failing to balance its budget, and police reform. However, after Governor Abbott signed House Bill 1900, a bill designed to financially penalize any city that cut any funding from their police department, it became painfully obvious to Crockett that the fuckwits in the Texas state legislature had no real interest in fixing any of Texas's actual problems, and were going to spend most of their time focusing on dumb shit like, I don't know, banning late-term abortions and critical race theory from pre-K classes, or whatever the fuck people in Texas think are actual problems that don't really exist. So Jasmine decided to take the approach that you can ignore my legislation, but you can't ignore me. Most notably calling out Craig Goldman, the person who authored HB 1900, for what the state's role was in policing areas like South Dallas, the area she represented and had long struggled with issues with discriminatory and violent policing. A question Goldman was unable to answer and would later cause Crockett to remark that these legislators are trying to fix problems in areas they've never been and don't represent, while ignoring and undermining the representatives who have been elected to represent those areas and those people. Crockett, realizing she lacked the voting power or leverage to get any legislative wins, she decided to start working on making sure they could get as few legislative wins as possible, speaking out vocally against harmful and discriminatory legislation at every possible turn. Although her and her colleagues' victories were limited, they did end up yielding some success, most notably killing a Republican voter suppression bill by walking out of the chamber at the last minute of voting and making a vote impossible before the end of the legislative session. Kind of victory she remarked about by saying that killing bills that will hurt the people I represent is equally as important as passing bills that will help them. Following year, in 2022, she'd run for Texas's 30th district in the U.S. House of Representatives and win, and then was selected as the 118th Congressional Freshman Class Representative. Her new position, she's continued to make waves and garner national attention by calling out bullshit and a voice much louder than most freshman congresspeople can normally muster. For example, when the House Oversight Committee was questioning as to why Hunter Biden got a $5 million payment from China, she's like, it seems pretty fucking strange that you're worried about this when Trump in 2017 received $6.5 million from China, according to his tax returns. She's like, if I recall, Donald Trump was president of the United States in 2017 when he received that $6.5 million payment from China that we're not sure why he got. Remind me, is Hunter Biden now, or has he ever been president of the United States or served in any public office? Why is the House Oversight Committee so worried about a $5 million payment from China to a private citizen who has never served in public office, but doesn't seem to give any fucks about $6.5 million that the president of the United States received while he was president of the United States? The answer she received was a dumbfounded look and some incoherent babbling from Kentucky's James Comer. Her most famous remarks, however, were likely to Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, the congresswoman whose name sounds like a shitty music festival, when Luna decided to pose some irrelevant questions to Dr. Montz, director for the Center of Consumer Information and Insurance Oversight, on the relationships between China and the U.S. Something Dr. Ellen Montz responded to was saying that she has no professional or personal experience with the China-U.S. relationship, as that's not her job. Something Luna retorted to by saying she should learn about how China feels about us and how they're committing espionage by reading Breitbart. No joke, a real-life, living, breathing congresswoman in real-life, living, breathing Congress, and not in an SNL skit or anything, told a person with doctor at the front of their name that they needed to inform themselves by reading Breitbart. Florida, I'm not sure who thought it was a good idea to give you guys, like, voting privileges and things, but I think we need to revisit that, because you guys just are not sending people with fully functioning brains to represent you, and it's just fucking things up for everybody. When Luna said this, Jasmine Crockett looks over like, the fuck you just say? And then Jasmine says, and I'm not even paraphrasing, it will never cease to amaze me what will come out of some of my colleagues' mouths. just so nobody from the general public gets confused that that is a good idea. I just went to Google, which we can all do if you have a cell phone. The Breitbart is a far-right opinion and commentary website. Breitbart's content has been described as homophobic, xenophobic, and racist by academics and journalists alike. So I don't know that that's where anybody should be taking their cues from, especially if they're trying to run this country. She then goes on to call some of the other bullshit they had said, like wanting to restrict Medicare access to pregnant DACA immigrants who are legally residing within the United States, calling them out to their faces that it was bullshit that they pretend to care about life when it's a justification for stripping women's rights to choose their reproductive health care, but suddenly don't give two fucks about life when it comes to preventable maternal fatality rates. Then she called them out for bitching about immigration problems by saying it's a Republican-controlled House, not a single one of you motherfuckers has put forward a single bill to address any of the issues you claim is such a problem. Because you don't actually care about doing your job, and you don't actually care about immigration, you care about using immigration as a boogeyman. Then she closed it out by commending Dr. Mons for keeping such steady composure in the face of such idiotic questions. Granted, I did paraphrase some of that, but what I added in colorful language, Jasmine Crockett more than makes up for in just pure attitude. Complete with the hair tosses and the side eyes and saying shit like, oh, let's address some of these half-truths. I'm sorry, they're full lies. I was trying to be nice, but you know, whatever. It's incredible. All of her stuff is incredible. You should go watch it. It really does give like Katie Porter vibes in an African-American millennial package, and it is great. So now all that said, she is a freshman in Congress. She's brand new, so there's not much for legislative accomplishments yet, but she's already shown in her very short time that she is clearly not afraid to metaphorically jump into the ring and throw hands. Honestly, probably physically too. She seems like she would, and I wouldn't want to fight her. I ain't gonna lie, I could see the likes of the marginal trailer queen or Bobo making the wrong steps on the congressional floor and Jasmine Crockett giving C-SPAN the best ratings on television. That aside, I do think she's got the makings of a congressional heavyweight here over the next few years, and I really hope that this is some insight into the future of Texas politics. So I'd say you can go ahead and forget the Alamo, but you should probably remember Jasmine Crockett.